So now you're going to choose a word or a name. You can do your name. You can choose a word that you would like to create into a three-dimensional 3D shape. And we're going to actually have a really cool effect where it actually looks three-dimensional as if it's coming off of the paper. So I'm really excited about it. I'm going to do my daughter's name, Lucy. And if you have a name like Madeline and it's really long, you could try to do that. Just make sure that, you know, you're doing your letters a little smaller so that way it ends up fitting in. If you have a shorter name like the word Lucy, then your letters are going to be a little bit bigger and you're going to just try to take up as much space as you can. Okay? Notice that I'm starting my letters close to the top of my paper. And the bottom of my letters, I'm reaching about halfway down the paper. I'm leaving room on the second half of my page for the lines that are going to help create the 3D effect. I am also leaving a bit of space in between each letter because I'm going to be making those letters into shapes, so you want space on either side. Now I'm going to go ahead and make it into a shape. Right now they're just using line. So I'm going to try to make it as parallel as possible by making block letters. But basically what I'm doing is I'm creating the same line and I'm picking how wide I want it to be. If I want it to be this wide, then I'm going to try to do it similar over here, keeping it consistent. And then I want to connect top and bottom, connect side to side here, and now that creates that enclosed space, which creates a shape that looks like the letter L. So I'm going to go ahead, any of the lines that were inside, I'm going to go ahead and erase. Right. So now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make these letters look a little bit three-dimensional. So I'm going to have an angle going down, away from the top of my paper. And whatever angle I choose to do, I'm going to consistently do it for each corner that I see. And you're going to see some corners I don't do, and I'll explain why. So I'm going to have an angle going down, and I'm choosing this width. Okay, so that's kind of like a fingernail's width, or even if you put a finger down, a finger's width from one point to the next point. Now I'm going to take that angle and I'm going to do the same one down here. So notice how there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners to the letter L. Okay, so I'm going to do the same one down here. Okay, if I do it too short, I put my finger there. Up, I don't see it coming out on the other side. So I know I have to go a little bit longer. And I'm going to do the same one here. I'm not going this way. I'm going to be parallel to this one. Good. Now I would come up to this corner and look what happens. If I do a line here, it goes inside that shape, okay, inside the letter L. So I know that I don't need to do that one. So I'm going to go ahead and erase it. For you guys, I would recommend to draw as light as possible, almost like you can't even see it. The lighter you draw, the easier it's going to be to erase. And for this, because it's our first time doing it, you might have a lot of erasing to do later. So I'm going to draw darker so you can see it on the screen. I want you to draw as light as possible. Really little pressure. So I'm not going to do this one because it's going to go inside my letter L. I would come over here, invisible. Nope, I don't need to do that one because it's going inside my letter L. Up here. Nope, I'm not going to do that one either. So I have my 3 lines for my letter L. And then what I do is I connect. And whatever the line is over here, that is what line I'm going to do to connect the two. It's parallel line, whatever is next to it. So over here as well. This line is going horizontal, so I'm going to connect them with a horizontal line. So you can see I'm already starting to create a 3-dimensional space. In the slideshow I created for this assignment, I included a YouTube video of an artist showing how to draw each letter of the alphabet using the same technique. Please refer to that video if you're having a difficult time figuring out how to create the 3-dimensional effect with the letters you chose. Just know, this is not a super easy technique. Please try not to get discouraged when doing this for possibly the first time. Practice makes progress, not perfection. This is not due tomorrow or today. Remember how sometimes our projects take a few weeks to finish? That's because we practice first. All right, so the next step, we're going to be talking about that value. Now, we already did our value exercises, so you're going to be thinking about, well, what part of the letter are you going to be doing a light tone and what is going to be dark? The actual shape, you're going to always leave white, at least for this assignment. We're going to leave that white. So that leaves you with the left side and the bottom. And depending on what we're doing, it might also leave the inside of the letters as well. Or those little holes. Like for example, here's my left and here's my bottom, but I also have the inside showing here. But because this is basically the same as this side, these two are going to be the same. Okay, so let's go ahead, and now that you have that practice with the value, we're going to go ahead and add it in. So I know this is going to be white, 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 and I'm going to choose all of my left sides to be my medium to light value, and then my bottoms are going to be darker. That's what I'm going to choose. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. Again, not on the tip. Move your pencil to the side and go ahead and start filling it in. This is where that practice of having even pressure when shading really comes in handy. You're trying to fill this small space and create everything looking the same shade. So now that I have all of my sides done, now I'm going to go ahead to the bottom and I'm going to press harder, because I want it to be different than the top, the side. I want it to really stand out. So this is where I'm not pressing as hard as I possibly can, but I'm definitely doing, a number 3 or 4. You're gonna see when I start shading in the curved letters, like the bottom of the U and the bottom of the C, that where that medium and then the dark tone meet, I try to make it a nice smooth transition to go with the curve. So now we're going to take this idea of 3D and really make an optical illusion, a trick of the eye, to make it look as though that the letters are actually popping off of the page. And you're going to see what I'm talking about in a moment. So to do that, I'm going to kind of create from the bottom of my letters here, I'm just going to create a direction. Now it's going, originally we went this way, now we're going the opposite way, just from the bottom. I'm not worrying about it if it's perfect or not, just generally. And then I'm going to take my my pencil and I'm going to go really, really dark. Now I'm at the value 5. Okay, I'm really, really dark, and then I'm going to create this very big separation from this space to where this line is down here. And then I'm just going to go nice and light away until you basically don't see it anymore. Alright, now I take my finger and I'm going to go ahead and press into the paper and to kind of blend it a little bit. And I'm still going in that direction of that angle that we did coming off of the bottom. So I'm not going this way. I'm staying inside that space, and as I come down, I'm still following that angle. Alright, so now the next step, I'm going to take a piece of paper. You can use a notebook or something with a hard edge, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay it on top of my letters. Now I'm not going to go in the bottom. I'm going to go somewhere kind of close to the top quarter, the top third of my letters, and then I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to draw. And anytime I'm about to touch my letter, I'm going to stop and lift up, come over here, put it back down. I'm going to go, stop, lift up, move over here, stop, lift up, put it back down, go, stop. I'm going to go inside here too. Anytime I'm about to touch it, I stop. And then I'm going to take my scissors, handy dandy, and I'm going to go on that line and cut around my letters. Definitely take your time. The more accurate you are with this, the much cooler it's going to come out. So let's see what happens. When I got to the letter C, I just cut straight through the bottom of the top of the C. That way it doesn't create an awkward empty space. And then I took some tape, I turned it over, and I taped it back together so it didn't look any different than it was before. There you have it, this awesome three-dimensional word.